Hey, Gary Guth here with bagpipelessons.net. Last night I did a little bit of a webinar with a few people, and this is the second in a series of things that we're doing about memorizing the tune. Memorizing a tune is a culmination of doing the right things and so forth. So what I'd like to do tonight is I'd like to show you the next step. Now, last week we talked about rhythm. We talked about how to diagnose the rhythm of a piece, and what we want to be able to do is be able to say the rhythm of the tunes before we actually pick up the chanter and start playing. Okay, so if you'll bear with me, we're going to, I have a new tune tonight. This is called The Banks of Allan Water. It's a retreat. It's a nice tune, relatively easy, but we're going to show you the next step. So the process is developing a bagpipe tune to memorization. So the first step we did is the rhythm, and I'm just going to go over that part with you with this new tune. So if you'll sit tight for a second, I'm going to take my camera right here and I'm going to show you what we're doing. Okay, so here we go. So here's our tune, The Banks of Allan Water. So the first thing we want to do is we want to put in the rhythm and so forth. So I'm in 3/4 time, so I've got 3 beats to the measure. When you're writing in rhythm, the first note of a duplet always has the number. So this is 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. And this is I got cut off over here. This is a C doubling here. So let me just write that in real quick. This is a C doubling, and it's a quarter note. So that's 3. Oh, here, this is a shake on D, like this. And got an E doubling right here. Um, and another shake on D right here. Okay, 1 second as I'll pick it up so you can see. All right, okay, so here we go, back up to here. All right, so here we are in the second line. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and then down to this line. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. So you do enough of these, and you won't have to do them every time. This is 2. Here's my E doubling. Yep. Bump, bump. This is 3. I'm sorry. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. I'm sorry. This is last one. This is 2 right here. Okay, so let's go up here. All right. So in the first beat, I have a dotted eighth note followed by a 16th note. So you count 16th notes: 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a. So this note here is equal to 1 E and then this would be so I put an A there. This is 2. This is 3. It's 2 eighth notes. This would be 3 and I put a plus right there for my and. Then I got 1 again, 2, 3, 1 and 2, 3, 1. Okay, this is an eighth note, so this would be the and of 1, and then this would be an like that. 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3, 1 and 2, 3, 1 and 2, 3. See, it's not that hard, is it? 1, 2, 3, 1 and 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 and 1 and 2 and here we go, and again, and then 3. And then down here I've got 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3, 1 and 2, 3. This is the and right here. 1 and 2, 3. All right, so here's what we're going to do. First thing you want to be able to do with a new tune is to be able to say the rhythm. You know, he who blows first loses. So you don't just pick up your practice chanter and play through the tune a million times, you know, hoping that God gives you something special on beat 40, on repetition 47. So you start right here. 1, 2, 3, and 1. So I'm tapping my feet. You hear my feet? I'm tapping my feet. I want to have a steady beat. Ready? 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3, 1, and 2, 3, 1, and 2, 3. 1 and 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3, 1 and 2, 3, 1 and 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 1 and 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, and 1 and 2 and 3. 1 and 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3. 1 and 2, 3. 1 and 2, 3. So that's what you want to do. You want to practice saying this rhythm until you get it up to that point. I want it at a walking pace, and you want to be able to say it. And you get a pretty good idea, don't you, of how of how the tune is going to go, even if you never heard the melody before. 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3, and just like that, you get an idea as to what the tune's going to be like. All right, now here's what we do next. Okay, so I'm gonna pull this around and put it back here so I can see you and you can see me like this. All right, here's what you do next, okay? All right, so I had this sheet out last night, and I'm sorry it didn't work out. I forgot to hit the record button on the Zoom meeting. All right, so here we are. So I have this sheet right here. And so we define the rhythm and we practice it, right? Now we're going to talk about fingering. And again, he who blows first loses, okay? Because it's not about music yet. This is about coordination, you know? So here I am. If you watch the music, I'm starting in E position. You know, strike at the bagpipe, and it goes E. Now I'm going to go like this. I'm going to talk my way through. Watch this. E, I lift for the G grace note, low A, D. Now this particular note is a G grace note on F. So if I'm playing a G grace note on F, you know, all the other notes are one finger like this, but when I'm playing a G grace note on F, that's a full G position. Okay, so I'm going to go G grace note on A, D, and then I lift for the grace note when like this. So between D position and a G grace note on F, I'm lifting all of my fingers, and when I close that position is when I close my bottom hand. Okay, here's an E strike, G, now I have an E half doubling, E, F, E, F, here's my D throw, low G, D, C, D, I lift for the grace note, low A, tap brush, there's my burl. Now this is a full D grace note on C, okay, D, C, A, D, C. Okay, so if I'm doing D grace notes, one finger on B, one finger on A, one finger on B, like that. But when I'm in C position and I lift for the D grace on, I'm actually playing a full D position. So it's A, D, C. Okay. I lift for the G grace note B. Here's my Torlua. Low G, D grace note, E grace note, B. You see now when I lift, when I went to the E grace note on the B, I changed the B position when I lift for the grace note. See that? Low G, E grace note, B. Okay, there's my Torlua. C. Here's my D throw. Low G, D, C, D. Full G, F, E, low G, D, C, D. Here's my C doubling. I lift for the G grace note. C, D, C. Okay, I lift for the G grace note. A, D, full G, F. E strike, G, E, F, E, F. Here's my D throw, low G, D, C, D. E grace note, A, tap brush, D, C. And now I'm playing a shake on B. So I lift for the G grace note, B position, low G strike. And now and you'll love this one. Now watch this. I'm going to an E doubling from B position. So I have to lift for the G grace note. I have to change the E position at the same time. So I've got to lift these fingers like this. Okay, so I'm going B, G grace note, E, F grace note, that's my E doubling. I lift for the G grace note, C, D, C, that's my C doubling, E grace note, low A. Here's my D throw, low G, D, C, D, and then a shake on D. Low G, G grace note, low G strike. Okay, second part, I'm lift for the G grace note, C, D. Here's my E doubling. I got to do the same thing. I got these two fingers. Okay, when I close my grace note, I'm in E position, and it's a doubling. So there's my F grace note, A strike. I lift for the G grace note, C, D, C, E grace note, low A. That's a C tackum. Here's my D throw, low G, D, C, D. Again to an E doubling. I lift for the G grace note, change the E position, F grace note, full G, F, G, F, G, A, F, G, E, full G, F, G, F. There's my F doubling, D, full G, F, G, F. And here's my E doubling. I got to go up and get the G grace note. Up to E, F, E, like that. There's my E doubling. High A swipe, that's my high E doubling, G. My A grace note to the F. It's a full release. F, E strike, G, E, F, E, F. Here's my D throw, low G, D, C, D, E grace note, A, tap brush, full D, C. Here's my shake on B. I lift for the G grace note, B, low G strike, and again to the E doubling. So I lift these fingers like this, close the E position, F grace note. I lift for the G grace note, C position, D grace note, E grace note, low A, low G, D, C, D for my D throw, and my shake on D. Okay, so I just talked my way through the fingering on the Banks of Allan Water. Okay, and you want to do this a few times. You know what? See the goal of learning to play a tune is to be able to play it through without making any mistakes. You know, bagpipers don't make mistakes, or we're memorizing all this music. If you played this music 20 times exactly the same way, your brain isn't confused. Your brain isn't saying, "Oh, well, which way do you want me to remember it?" Your brain isn't confused. It's remembering the same thing. Okay, so here we go. Okay, so you talk your way through it. Here's what we do next. Okay, now you take your practice chanter and you're going to blow. The goal is we're going to cross the creek. That's what we call this, crossing the creek. When you cross the creek, what you're going to do is you're going to go from one melody note position to the next through the grace notes and the doublings. Okay, and the first time when you're blowing through it, this is an audit. This is where you're going to stop. You have a problem with a particular thing. You stop. You take your pencil. You circle it. Isolate and drill. It's sort of like if you catch on fire. That's stop, drop, and roll. Okay, well this is stop, isolate, and drill. Okay, so here we go. So we're gonna go through this real quickly, and well, not quickly. I'm gonna show you. Okay, so. All right, I played this tune before, um, but I'm going to show you some places where people have problems. Okay, so I'm just going to circle these, and I'm going to show you. Okay, let's see. One second. Okay, so I have 5 things that I circled. Okay, so if you wanted to take your paper and circle those 5 things, I'm going to show you how to put those together. Okay, so stop, drop, and roll. Right? Stop, isolate, and drill. The question is, how do you drill? Okay, so I have 3 steps of drilling. Okay, the first step of drilling is to play the positions. Okay, so the first problem that we had is going from G to E. Okay, so you want to make sure that G to E. You don't want to make sure that you want to make sure that your fingers are going down together. Now this happens to be a half doubling, and so what you're going to do is you're going to put it in rhythm. When you're happy with this repetition, then you're going to add the second syllable. One, two, and 1, 2, and. Okay, let's do another one. Oh, the Torlua on B. All right. You know, the biggest problem with Torlua is that people leave out the last syllable, the E grace note on the B. Okay, so if you're playing you're going from a low G to an E grace note on B, you have to lift for the position and the grace note at the same time. Got to go like this. You got to practice going like this, up and down. Low G, E grace note, B. Low G, E grace note, B. Low G, E grace note, B. And you talk your way through it. Low G, E grace note, B. Then you back up and play the first couple syllables of the Torlua. So how many repetitions do you play? I think that you should take a breath, the biggest breath that you can take, and you should play as many repetitions as it takes to play to expend that breath. Okay, so that's the Torlua on B. Just a reminder, when you're going from the D to a G grace note on F, you have to lift all of your fingers like this. You know, I see people play Amazing Grace. because they lift one finger. Cha-da, cha-da, cha-da. And what's happening is they're playing the D again. They're going cha-da, cha-da. So you have to lift all of the fingers. D, G grace note F. D, G grace note F. D. Okay, that's the third one. Um, then we have C to the shake on B. Okay, so we want to make sure that our positions are clean. You know, you want to make sure that you're doing this right because you could go. So what's happening is it looks like an arc. So if I'm in B position, I'm going to C. I'm going to lift this finger first, and this one comes down. So it looks like this. It goes back and forth. B to C, B to C, nice and easy. So you get the position down first. Okay, now I'm going to go. So I'm playing the first syllable of the doubling first. You know, when people play doublings and shakes and stuff, you know what they usually mess up is the first syllable. It's getting to the G grace note. So you want to practice going. Now I'm going to tap my feet. I'm going to go 1, 2, and 1, 2, and 1, 2, and. All right. And then finally, the last one is the D to the E doubling. Now this one is tricky because you have the potential crossing noise. And so what's happening is that my hands open in the direction that I'm going. So if I'm going up, my top hand opens first, my bottom hand closes. Coming down, you know, it's back and forth like this. Now, if I'm going to a G grace note, I'm going from D to a G grace note in E position. So I have to lift not only for my G grace note, but I've got to change the E position at the same time. So I've got to do this. Okay, so you got to practice doing this. Okay, like this. So I'm going D, G grace note, E, D, G grace note, E, D, G grace note, E, D, G grace note, E. You see how I'm talking my way through it? I mean, this is about coordination long before it's about music. D, G grace note, E, D, G grace note, E. Then I'm going to put it into rhythm. And when I do the doubling, I'm going to go. Okay, so you want to play a million of those. All right, that's what you do. That's where we are. In the next lesson, we'll talk about mixing, fingering, and rhythm. I hope you all enjoyed this lesson. I hope you have a great day, and come out on Sunday night. We'll do a little webinar and stuff. You can try me out, and if you want to support my ongoing business, I have a Venmo. You can Venmo me a contribution if you think it's worth it. Keep me in business. I'll make it worth your while. All right. Bagpipelessons.net. I'm Gary Guth. I hope you have a great night. Take care.